Hello, my name is Scott Britton. I'm the President and CEO of MyIntelliSource. Today I will be giving an introduction to the MyIntelliClock iOS application. For those of you who do not know what MyIntelliClock is, MyIntelliClock is a new cloud-based client self-appointment booking system. Our system allows your clients to make appointments 24/7, 365 at their convenience on the web or through our mobile applications for Android and iOS. This is accomplished via a schedule you can easily set and change with the system. MyIntelliClock is built to augment, ease, and possibly replace having clients call to make appointments on the phone. In the past, your clients could only make appointments during normal business hours and require dedicating someone to answering the phone to field appointment calls. With MyIntelliClock, you are no longer tied to making appointments only during normal business hours or by phone only. In addition, you do not have to dedicate someone to answer the phone just to field calls for appointments. MyIntelliClock puts the power of cloud technology into a modern appointment system where clients can make appointments at their convenience from the web or through the MyIntelliClock Android or iOS application. It is very simple. We provide an HTML button for you to place on your website or social media pages, which links to your appointment page on our server cloud. In addition, the client can use the Android or iOS application and find you in our company directory and book an appointment. This video will talk about the MyIntelliClock iOS application and show you how to use it to simplify, enhance, and streamline your client appointment system. It features superior effectiveness and efficiency using a simple-to-use interface. Your clients will love being able to make appointments at their convenience, and in addition, you will save time, overhead, and will be able to focus on more key core aspects of your business with MyIntelliClock. So let's get started in the next segment, learning how easy it is to use MyIntelliClock and how to use it to streamline and revolutionize your business. Welcome back. Let's get started. I have MyIntelliClock already brought up on my iPhone. The MyIntelliClock application for both Android and iOS features both the client and the provider interfaces in one application. I will focus most of my attention on the provider interface, but I will give you a look at the client interface as well. MyIntelliClock for iOS is designed to rapidly get you up and running. The first thing you need to do to use MyIntelliClock as a provider is to register for a free account with MyIntelliSource. In addition, registering will allow you to use the associated web application from the computer as well. Since I'm the provider, I want to click the button in the middle of the screen that says For Businesses. This brings up the business login screen. To get started, click the Register button towards the bottom of the screen. This brings up the registration page on our website. You can register as an individual or as a business and have the ability to change this at a later date. So I will register our company, MyIntelliSource, as a service provider. Registration requires only a few key pieces of information that is encrypted in our server cloud for your protection. I will enter my information and then hit Submit. We have successfully created our new MyIntelliSource free account. Before I can log into MyIntelliClock, I have to verify my account. This is to ensure you actually created the account. Our server cloud will send you an email message with a link embedded in the message. I'm going to switch to my inbox and find the verification email. If you do not find the message in your inbox, check your junk folder. Here is the email, and I will click the link to verify my new account, which will bring it up in Safari or whatever browser program you use. You will see the verification is complete, and now I can log into my new account on my phone. But before I'm going to do that, I'm going to show you an important first step. Let me go to the login homepage. Account settings are only available on the web application for our server cloud for security. The first step you should take in using MyIntelliClock is to set the baseline time zone for your business. We are located in Knoxville, Tennessee in Eastern Time, so I want all transactions done on my company's behalf to be in Eastern Time. So I'm going to log in here in the mobile browser and go to Settings. Now that I'm logged in, I'll go to MyIntelliClock, and then I'll select Settings here. In addition to setting the time zone settings, I'm going to set the company-wide time constraints when appointments can be made. As you can see, the earliest starting time is midnight and the latest ending time is 11:55 p.m. It is much a policy setting as it is a convenience setting. First, I will set the time zone. For the Eastern Time Zone, I will select America, New York. Now I will set the time constraint settings. I'm going to set between 4 p.m. and 11 p.m. as our settings. I will click Submit, and the settings are saved globally to our server cloud. That gets us started off on the right foot. In the next section, we will begin building a schedule by first creating some baseline services, then by building some appointment time slots. Welcome back. In this section, I will give an overview of MyIntelliClock and talk about entering services and entering an appointment schedule. So I have MyIntelliClock loaded on my device, and it always starts in the client home screen. Clicking the button that says For Businesses will bring up the Business Logon home screen. With MyIntelliClock for iOS, you may set it to automatically log in after the first login by clicking the switch next to the word Remember and setting it to the On position. Let me enter my login information, and the device is already set to remember my login, which is stored in the Apple keychain. Now we are at the business home screen. A little while later we will come back to this and I will show you how to switch between an account that you are a subscriber to an end user on another subscriber's account. The business interface for MyIntelliClock is made up of 9 different tabs of functionality and are as follows: Business Home, Customers, Appointments, Services, which are all currently visible, and Availability, Exceptions, Invitation, Users, and Account, which are in the More screen. We will be starting in the Services tab, so I will click on it. As I previously stated, in MyIntelliClock, appointments are made up of a service and a time slot. To successfully build an appointment time slot, we must first enter at least one service to offer. In my company's case, we will enter 4 different types of services: consulting, technical support, billing, and other. Currently, we do not have any services entered, or they would be listed here. In MyIntelliClock, there is no limit on how many services you may enter. At the top right-hand corner of the navigation bar, I will hit New, which will bring up the screen to enter a new service. There are 5 options to choose from: Summary, Detail, Price, Users, and Logo. Of the 5, Summary and Users are required while the rest are optional. I'm going to create my 4 company services with different options so you may see later what they look like to your clients. The first service I will enter will be consulting. I will enter consulting as a summary, custom web, iOS, Android, and cloud computing solutions as the description, select myself as a user, enter a price of $100, and select a photo from my pictures as the logo. The next service I will enter will be technical support. I will enter technical support as a summary, put technical support for MyIntelliSource applications as the detail, select myself as the user, and not enter a price or a logo. For the final two services, I will enter billing and other and select myself as the user with no other options. Two things I want to point out here. First, not all of these options will display to the client. It depends on the device screen size and the operating system. Secondly, creating services is allowed only to the subscriber, thus it is a company-wide setting. Any users may view, but they may not add or modify services. If a subscriber adds an end user at a later date, he or she will have to go back into services to add the new end user to a particular service. Now that I've added 4 services, we will go back a screen and now you'll be able to see the 4 services that have been added. In the next section, we will talk about making appointment slots for your clients to select from under the Availability tab. Welcome back. In this section, we will cover making appointment slots for your clients to select from. As you can see, we are back at the client home screen. I will click the For Businesses button and go to the business home screen now. Clicking the More tab, we will select Availability, which is where we make schedules. MyIntelliClock features weekly schedules that you create once and they remain the same until you change them. As you can see, we currently do not have any weekly availability. I'm going to create a Monday weekly schedule. So to do this, I click New at the top right hand corner. As you can see, we have to pick a day now. I will select Monday. Remember, you're creating a schedule that stays constant week to week currently. In a little while, I will show you how to make an exception to your daily schedule without having to make a change in your weekly availability. As you can see, we currently do not have any appointment time set for clients to choose from, so we are going to create an appointment time now. I will click the Add button at the top right of the navigation bar. This takes us to the screen to make our first appointment. You select the start time, the end time, and the service. Before I begin, I will point out the global time constraints we previously set will now come into play. If I hit the start time, it takes us to the next screen, as I will do now. I am going to create 1-hour appointment times from 4 p.m. to 10 p.m., so I'll select 4 as the start time. For my end time, I will select 5 p.m. Now with services, you can select any available service or pick a specific service to offer only then. For my example, I will select any service. Now that we have all the selection options filled, I will hit save and you have a saved appointment slot for your customer to select from. In less than a minute, I can create an entire day of availability, as I will do now by repeating the same steps. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to finalize our day of appointments and save it. Once it's saved, it takes effect immediately. If there are a previous schedule for Monday in the system, it would be surpassed by this new Monday schedule. I will point out that each day can be scheduled separately and independently of the others. Say you need to change your schedule only on Mondays, all you have to do is create a new Monday schedule. Making appointment schedules in MyIntelliClock is very straightforward and simple. In the next section, we will cover making temporary exceptions to your schedule called availability exceptions. Welcome back. In this section, we are going to cover making temporary exceptions to your availability. Instead of having to create an entire new day of appointment schedules with availability exceptions, you can temporarily remove sections of time for all services or a select service for things like when you need time off. As you can see, we are back at the business home screen. I will click the More tab and I will go down and select exceptions. As you can see, we currently do not have any availability exceptions entered. To start the process of entering an availability exception, I will click New in the upper right hand of the navigation bar. Availability exceptions are set up by date, so for my availability exception, I will click January 31st, which is a Monday. As it currently stands, I have no exception time slots entered. I will hit Add to bring up the screen to enter the data. Adding exceptions is very much like adding availability, except that you're removing time from your schedule here. I'm going to enter 4 p.m. as the start time and 6 p.m. as the end time and remove any services during that time period. Later on, when we cover client appointments, I will demonstrate that this time slot has been removed from the appointment schedule. Before I save this exception, one thing I will note here about availability exceptions is that if a client has already booked an appointment during this time period, the availability exception will be denied. You would first have to cancel the client appointment, then create the availability exception. Now that I've entered all my details, I click Save to go back to the screen to finalize my exception. Like scheduling availability, you may enter more than one availability exception for a given day. You would just repeat the same steps. We will finalize our availability exception by hitting Save. I will note once you create an availability exception, it takes effect immediately. If you later need to remove it, you can click on the row which brings up the details for the availability exception and you can delete it from this screen. Availability exceptions give you the power to easily remove a section of your schedule on a given day without having to recreate an entire day of availability scheduling. In the next section, we will cover adding customers and booking appointments manually should a customer not take advantage of MyIntelliClock to book an appointment with you. Welcome back. In this section, we will cover manually adding customers who do not take advantage of MyIntelliClock to self-book their appointments. On the lower tab bar, I will click Customers. As you can see, we currently do not have any customers active. To add a customer, I will click New in the upper right navigation bar. This will bring up a section of options to select from or enter information. For this example, I will use my nephew Clark as our test customer. 4 things are required to enter a customer: name prefix, first name, last name, and email. Email is required because appointment notices and reminders are sent to the customer. So let me enter Clark's information. As you can see, Clark is now in our customer list. Let's say we want to create an appointment for Clark. If I click on the row, his information is displayed. You may edit the customer's information from this screen. At the bottom there is a row that says appointments. I will click on it. Clark currently does not have any appointments. To create an appointment on his behalf, I click New in the upper right of the navigation bar. This will start the appointment selection process. The first thing I need to do is decide what service I will pick for Clark. For this example, I will select Other. Next, it will ask you to select a date to see what appointment times are available. Because I want you to see the availability exception we entered is in effect, we will use the January 31st date that is already defaulted so you can see the exception. As you can see, the 4 p.m. and 5 p.m. time slots have been removed. For Clark's appointment, I will select 6 p.m. This brings us to the confirmation screen, which shows the customer, the provider, the service, the appointment date, and the appointment time. Since everything is correct, I will click Book Appointment. This takes us back to Clark's appointments. As you can see now, the appointment is now listed in the history and an email confirmation has been sent to both Clark's email address and the provider's email address. Now, if I need to cancel this appointment, I click the row which brings up the appointment details. At the bottom, if you click Cancel Appointment, the appointment will be canceled and an email sent both to Clark and the provider of the cancellation. Now that we've seen how to manually enter a customer's information and manually book an appointment on his or her behalf, in the next section, we will look at how you can view your daily appointment schedule from the application and how to invite end users to use your account. Welcome back. Now that we've learned how to manually enter customers and make appointments on their behalf, we will look at seeing your appointment schedule for a given day. If you want to see all your appointments for a given day, you can use the Appointments tab. Clicking on the Appointments tab brings up your schedule for the current day minus any appointments that have already passed. Because today is January 31st, my appointment with Clark is present because it is currently 5 p.m. Eastern Time and his appointment is at 6 p.m. If I click on Clark's appointment, I can see the appointment specifics in addition to be able to cancel the appointment. Going back a screen, I want to make a note here that will lead into the discussion into inviting end users. If you are the managing subscriber, every appointment for you and your end users will be listed. If you are just an end user, only your appointments will be displayed. Now that we've talked about end users, MyIntelliSource application allows others to use your account by inviting them from the application. MyIntelliClock is a multi-user, multi-entity application. A managing subscriber may invite as many end users as he or she chooses. To add this feature requires a per end user subscription. MyIntelliSource subscriptions are based on the number of end users. Once an end user accepts an invitation, your subscription is automatically updated to bill for the extra end user. If you revoke an end user's privileges, your subscription will automatically be updated to remove a license. To invite end users, be able to have clients self-book appointments, and to be listed in the MyIntelliClock company directory requires a subscription, which I will demonstrate now. I begin by clicking on the Users tab in the More page. To begin the process of subscribing, I will click the Admin button in the upper right of the navigation bar. This will prompt you with a notice that this feature requires a subscription. We will log in and add a subscription, so I will click Login. This takes us to the MyIntelliSource login homepage on the web. Once I log in, I'll be forwarded to the billing homepage. As you can see, we do not have any subscriptions in place. To create a subscription, I will click Create New Subscription. To subscribe, you select the service. We will select MyIntelliClock. Then you enter your credit card information, which is encrypted for your protection. Since I'm on my company's test server, I will enter a test credit card so you can see the process. The process is now complete. If we go back, you will now see my subscription and a button to change the payment method and a button to cancel the subscription. Now if we double click the window, we are transported back to the user's home screen. Now when I click Admin, we are forwarded to a screen where if we had any end users, they would be listed here. To invite a new end user, I will click Invite in the upper right of the navigation bar. The only piece of information you need to invite another end user is his or her email address. For example, I will enter our developer group email address in and invite them. Now that I've entered the email address, all I have to do is hit the Invite New User button and the user will be invited. Now if I switch to my inbox, there will be an email with an embedded link for the end user to click. I will click the link and the MyIntelliSource login homepage will come up. Because I've already demonstrated how to create a free MyIntelliSource account, for this purpose I'm using an account that I previously created. So I log into the website and the linking is automatic. Now if I switch back to MyIntelliClock and log out as the managing subscriber and then log in as the end user, you will see a change happen on the business home screen. If I click the selection box now, you will see two accounts. An end user can select between his or her own personal subscriber account and another subscriber account for which he is an end user simply by selecting it on the business user homepage. Now if we log out of the end user account and log back in as a subscriber account and go back to users, you will see the linked account. If I click on the end users row, you may revoke this end user's privileges at any time. Now that we have covered looking at your daily scheduling and inviting end users to use your account, in the final section we will take a look at the client side of the equation. Welcome back. We are at the client home screen. Clients can find you in one of two ways on the application, either through the company directory or if they are already a client of your business through the associated business tab. We will look at both. In the tab bar, if I click on businesses, this brings up a list of businesses subscribed to MyIntelliClock. Using the alphabet index on the right side of the screen, you can quickly find a business and book an appointment. Because we're on a test server, the only business we have listed currently is MyIntelliSource, so I will select it. For a client to create an appointment is an easy 4-step process, beginning with selecting the service they desire. For this example, I will select consulting. Next, the client selects his or her provider choice. Since I'm the only provider listed, I will select myself. Next, the client selects his or her desired appointment date and a list of appointments will be displayed. In this example, we will select February 7th because we created availability only on a Monday. In production scenarios, you can have as few or as many days of the week with availability time slots. Now that our open appointment time slots are listed, in this example I will select the 4 p.m. appointment time. Finally, a confirmation screen is presented and all the end user has to do is log in or register to book this appointment. This is one method that a client can book an appointment with you. Now we will move on to the second method. If a client is already logged in and clicks on associated businesses or gets prompted to log in and successfully logs in, your business will be presented here for quick selection. I will click on associated businesses, which will prompt me to log in because I'm not currently logged in, and then you will see MyIntelliSource as an associated business. If I click on MyIntelliSource, it will bring up our company information. At the bottom is a row to view appointments. As you can see, we do not have our complete company information listed. As a side note, to enter your complete company information, go to users.myintellisource.com and click on account, and you can complete your company's information. If I click on the appointments row, this will bring up any appointment history. For a client to book a new appointment from this screen, all he or she has to do is hit New in the upper right navigation bar. This will bring up the same 4-step process as before, and the client can self-book an appointment from associated businesses. Both the provider and the client interface are intuitively designed to be simple, functional, and easy to use without needing instruction. Next, I will close our demonstration with some concluding remarks and my contact information. This concludes my demonstration of MyIntelliClock via the iOS application. I hope you found it informative and useful. Please make sure to watch the videos on this page that outline MyIntelliClock for Android devices and the web application. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to email me personally at the email address listed at the end of this video. Once again, my name is Scott Britton. I'm the President and CEO of MyIntelliSource. Thank you for watching, and I hope you will give MyIntelliClock a try and subscribe to our service. Have a great day.